Ladies and gentlemen, if you clicked on this video, chances are you have a test or exam coming up and you want to get an A+. Well, you've come to the right spot. My name is Collin and I'm a student at Yale University studying computer science. And in this video, I'll teach you how to ace your exams with ease. Whether you have an exam in 2 weeks, in 7 days, or even tomorrow, this video is for you. Listen, I've probably aced over 100 exams throughout my life. Math, English, science, you name it. And along the way, I've helped hundreds of students do the same. And what I can tell you is that acing your exams doesn't have to be that hard. It can actually be simple, easy, and quite fun. So whether you're in high school or college, I'm gonna share a no BS practical guide on how to ace your exams with ease, without all the stress. So let's get started. Now look, I know exactly how you feel. You study for 5 hours, you text your friends, I can't go out because I need to go lock in. But when exam day comes out, you choke. You get worried and you panic and you're like, I studied so much, what even was that exam? Look, I'm not gonna lie with you. I've been in group chats where my boys be stressing about the exam, but I'm the guy asking if they wanna play ping pong. Look, there are people who put less time than you, people who may even be dumber than you, who get better results. It's not because they have crazy guessing skills. It's because the way you've been studying has been wrong. I don't care if you study for 10 hours in a day. None of that studying matters if you don't absorb that information. If you study for 10 hours, but you only remember 10% of that information, that's the same as studying for 2 hours, but you remember 50% of it. Do the math. What am I trying to say? Stop studying like a nerd. Start studying like an academic weapon. Because it's not about the number of hours you study, it's about how you study. So first, let's talk about 3 of the most common mistakes students make. The first mistake students make is spending too much time on consumption, not digestion. So consumption looks like reading the textbook, watching lectures, and trying to absorb information. Whereas digestion means actually understanding that information. It looks like doing practice exams, answering questions, and being able to teach others what you know. You want to prioritize digestion over consumption. Most students think they're being so productive by watching the lectures at 2x speed or trying to read super fast. Chill out. If you don't digest and actually understand what you're consuming, that time spent is wasted. Now, the second common mistake students make is trying to remember every single small detail from the book or from lecture. They think they need to remember like 100% of everything they read, and so they panic and just start trying to brute force all the information to their head. Look, if you're trying to ace your exam, it's not about how many details or definitions you can remember. It's about how many questions you can predict will come out on the exam. It's about whether or not you can actually solve those questions that will come out. So you want to reframe your mindset. Now, the third common mistake students make, which by far is the most common, is they cram before an exam. I'm talking about studying the night before or morning of the test, where you usually don't really have a study strategy. You just try to read as many notes as you can, go over like lecture slides, and try to do everything at once. Look, if that works for you, fine. But if you want to ace your exams without all the stress, and if you actually want to study effectively where you can chill out and have fun, you need a better strategy. So let me introduce you to the learning pyramid. The learning pyramid is a science-based approach to study more effectively. If you take a look at the graph here on the top, it says the least effective learning method is lectures and reading, where the average retention rates are super low. And then on the bottom, the most effective learning method is practice by doing and teaching others. What this means is that not all study techniques are built the same. So you want to prioritize the study methods in the bottom of the pyramid. If you prioritize active recall and actually try to practice what you learn, you'll be so much more productive. But knowing this is not enough. Now, before you start studying for your exam, you want to first organize your study material. That way you have a system and some clear goals that you can set for yourself. So what you want to do is open a Google Doc or take a paper or whatever note-taking system you use and write down 3 important things. First, you want to list out all the resources you have to study. So maybe you have 3 practice exams, maybe you have all the class slides, your notes, your past quizzes, or homework. You want to list out everything you have that will help you study for your exam. Now, once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is list down all the topics that will be tested on your exam. Chances are your teacher will tell you the exam topics. So you want to list everything down, all the chapters and all the concepts that will be tested in your exam. If you can't find the topics list, just ask your teacher. Third, you want to list down how much time you have to study and create a small timetable where you're going to plan out what you're going to do. So for example, maybe on Monday, you're going to do 1 practice paper, and then on Tuesday, you're going to redo all your quizzes and homework, etc., etc. If you actually organize your study material, you'll feel so much more in control because you can actually see that if you do everything in this document, you're ready. So organize your study material. This step is super crucial. Now, once you've organized everything, it's time to do active recall and spaced repetition. This is by far the most effective study method in my opinion because you can do it yourself and it's also the most easy and straightforward. So you want to take a look at all your resources and grind through all the practice questions that you feel like will come up in your exam. I'm talking about doing practice papers from your teacher, redoing your past homework and quizzes, and maybe if you're feeling a bit extra, you can try search up more practice questions online. Now, the reason why learning through active recall is so much more effective is because we learn better when we're trying to retrieve information. So when you make a mistake and you go back to look at the answers or you try to solve it again, that's when your brain actually remembers that information much more compared to just reading or passive listening. Also, when you're solving questions like MCQs while you're studying and there are a couple of questions where you kind of guessed and got correct, you want to assume you got them wrong and actually fully understand how to solve it. Most students just make educated guesses while they're studying, and if they got it right, they don't even bother checking it out again. That's a big mistake. You want to make sure you can actually solve that question in case it comes out in your real test. Now, if you want to have a bit more fun and make sure you actually have complete mastery over your material, there's this one hack that you can do. Go to ChatGPT and upload all your class notes and then ask it to ask you questions. You can even ask it to act like an Asian genius teacher. That way, if you need more questions, you can get them. It also makes studying much more fun. Now, when it comes to active recall, there's a way you can make it even more powerful, and that is through spaced repetition, where basically you want to test yourself over an interval of a couple of days, so when you answer a question, it becomes muscle memory. So maybe you do a practice paper on Monday, and then maybe it took you like 2 hours to solve all the questions. You want to do that same paper on Tuesday and maybe even on Thursday. And each time you do it, try to time yourself and get all the questions right as fast as possible. So Collin, how will I know once I'm ready? Well, you're ready when you can solve any question without any hesitation. Where if you see it on an exam, it's almost like pattern recognition. Oh, it's this type of question. I've done it a million times before. Light work. That's the level you want to aspire to be at. Now, if we take a look at the learning pyramid again, actually in the bottom of the list, the most effective study method is teaching others. So if you have a friend who is cooked and you teach him, you can actually gain more mastery over your material. Personally, I treat this study method as a bonus and optional. I like studying in the morning and getting things done early before my friends are even awake, so I don't really do it. Sometimes I do it the day before the exam, but even then, I'd recommend studying yourself first with active recall. Now, another alternative you can do to teaching others is the blurting method, where basically what you want to do is get a piece of paper or open a Google Docs and write down everything you remember about a certain topic without looking at your notes. So like literally an empty page where you maybe write down a couple of big topics and ideas, and then you try to write down all the concepts you remember in your head and maybe some examples if you have any. The blurting method is super effective. It almost works like you're teaching others, and you can do it yourself. Now, what should you do on the day of your exam? 3 things. First things first, chill out. If you do all the things in this video and you finish everything in your study document, you will ace your exam. Look, if you're not willing to implement this system within 24 hours, this channel isn't for you. But what I can guarantee is that if you use the study system and you actually do the work, you will ace your exam with ease, because action cures fear. And if you've done the work, you're good. Second, don't eat too much. If you have an exam at 1 p.m., don't eat too big of a lunch because you're going to be sleepy and your brain is not going to function as fast. Don't overload your body because your brain needs energy to process that food. Also, no processed foods, please. Try to eat clean. Personally, I love eating healthy foods. It keeps me focused, sharp, and energized. Lastly, try to relax your brain. For me, I really enjoy listening to binaural beats, meditation music, jazz, and even house music to put me in that zone. And if you can, get some natural sunlight. It's a very underrated but powerful thing you can do to increase your energy and focus. And if you follow all these steps in this video, I have no doubt you will ace your exams. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, share this video and help a friend out. As always, God bless the hustle. We're all gonna win one day, and I'll see you in the next one.